telephony, security, service management, and delivery. And prior to joining BBB in 2016, he served as the IT director of American Petroleum Institute, as well as being a decorated combat veteran of the U.S. Navy, having supported classified communications for 12 years in his active duty. Let's give a warm welcome to Harley.
Okay, so we're going to start with a 45 slide deck. No, I'm just joking. We're not doing a deck, right? We're having a conversation. So thanks, AJ. My name's Harley Bledsoe. I'm the Chief Information Officer for BBB National Programs. What we do as an organization is my CEO, Eric Grayson, is a champion for industry self-regulation. We believe that businesses can regulate themselves where the federal government cannot, sometimes because of capacity, what have you, and we believe in protecting consumers, just like the bureaus do. But we do it in relation to data privacy, truth in advertising, automotive dispute resolution, children's nutrition issues. So we've created these little micro businesses that each one do a different discipline. We use technology to take our expertise out to the four corners of the world, right? So what we're talking about today is Autoline. And Autoline is we have the single largest automotive dispute resolution system in North America. That ODR predates eBay. So 35 years ago, the BBBs at the time were getting a lot of complaints from consumers about their cars, right? Can we help out with that? And thus came Autoline, where they created this technology stack, a proprietary stack, that if you think about the time, was way ahead of its time. Nobody was doing it. Right? So they automated that process to be able to take a complaint from a consumer, validate that complaint, and mediate in between the manufacturer and the consumer to find glasnost, a fair deal, in a 45-day period of time. Huge, huge business opportunity for the organization, very successful. But the story goes, let's go 35 years. Still the same proprietary system. No documentation, no reinvestment, right? The people that operate it internally know how it works, but they're the only ones. It's in their head. They've been doing the same business process for 30 years. They haven't adapted and changed. So when I was asked to leave American Petroleum and got recruited by BBB National Programs to run their IT iteration, the first thing the CEO did was look at this Autoline thing we have. We're not making the money we used to. It's people complain about it all the time. It doesn't work well, okay? Well, let me see what you got. Okay, well, redesign it. It's going to take 3 years. Different technology platform. I'm not going to mention what it was. And I said, okay, let's go. Yeah, it's legit. Well, we don't know if we want to do it or not. Why ask me, right, to change it? So that CEO ended up getting replaced by another CEO. Again, Harley, what do you think? We need to change out the platform. It's dying. It was end of life. It's 35 years old. It was end of life at 10, right? There's nothing you can do with that plate of spaghetti, right? You got to redo it. That CEO said, well, let me think about it. My current boss, Eric Grayson, great guy, comes in, heard my cry from the wilderness. Absolutely, Harley, let's reinvest. Great proponent for technology and what it can advocate. I go out and I find a $40 billion a year development company, not going to mention names, that had a SaaS platform similar to what we did in dispute resolution. And they're like, yeah, we can adapt. We can do that. Out of the box, we're not going to even have to have a developer. Okay? So I negotiated the deal, right? Now, we didn't have documented requirements. We had subject matter experts with 30 plus years in dispute resolution, but they didn't have anything documented internally. But you know what, the vendor, they're a $40 billion development shop. They're going to bring an army to this project. It's not the biggest project I've ever done. They're going to be able to get this done. We start the process, sign the contracts. Tick tock for 18 months straight. My SMEs internally met with them weekly, trying to explain to them in green crayon what we do in dispute resolution. Okay? They'd have the spreadsheet up, they'd document it, we'd get back on the meeting next week. Okay, what kind of progress we got? Well, we want to go back to that thing we talked about the week before, right? So, start that, okay. So the whole time this is going on, my team internally is doing their job fantastically, taking care of business, protecting the organization, developing and enhancing other products that we have out there. Again, the meetings continue. I'm the worthless IT manager saying, what's our progress? Okay, we said we're going to do it by this date. So I'm holding them contractually to what they signed off for. Nothing happened. The one thing that I did say in the previous group, I'm one of the CIOs. I'm sorry, how many of you are IT service providers in the room? Do you work in an in-house shop, or do you actually work for a company that provides IT services to people like me? Okay, so I'm that person you're having to deal with, right? So I'm expecting as a CIO for an organization that I contract in to help me run my infrastructure to live up to the requirements of what I do for my internal stakeholders, my customers. Because I'm a firm believer, the most important thing in technology is not AI, it's the human that you're servicing. I will never change that mantra. I've been doing this for 35 years. Don't matter what your certifications are, if your humans aren't happy, you're going to step. They'll find somebody to make them happy. We got into the whole iteration where I'm getting a lot of frustration internally that the $40 billion a year juggernaut's not getting anything done. I protect my partners. If you sign a contract to do work for my organization and I think you're doing the best effort you can to do the job and the complexities of technology, I'm going to support you. I'm going to fight for you as my partner as hard as I do for my internal team, right? And that's what I was doing for 18 months. I'm like, because I knew how bad the auto line system was, the stack. I've been doing technology long enough to know it's not instantaneous gratification. It's going to take a while to figure it out. I gave them 18 months. They just didn't have it. Told the story. I was down, my grandson was being born, my first grandson. Hadn't had a vacation in 2 years. I'm down in Savannah, Georgia, waiting for him to come. And I get the call from my team that the $40 billion juggernaut did not meet a basic deadline. I kind of got to the point where I'm like, you got to have something across the line here. They didn't do it. So I had to make the decision. 18 months of my team's frustration and sweat equity has gone into this. You're not getting it done. I don't care how big your brand is, you're done, right? So now, imagine being me, I'm waiting, okay, now I've got to go back to my boss and say, you trusted me to change it out when I couldn't get anybody to listen to me. The juggernaut came in, and guess what they've done? Zero. So I had to have that discussion. So what did I do? I do what I always do. I rallied my team on a conference call. I said, this is the call I'm making. Now, what are our alternatives? We talked about rewriting it internally. I'll just go back and get my .NET developers. We know what it needs to do, right? We take care of the plate of spaghetti every day. It needs to be more simplified. But that's going to take time because I have limited internal staff. Fast forward a little bit more, low code, no code gets mentioned. And I'm a firm believer in technology. Been doing this long enough to know if you don't adapt to changing technology, you'll die in the field. Right now, technology has changed in this last sentence that I just said. You got to keep up, you got to adapt with the times. So I said, okay, fine, tell me about that. My background in IT is I'm a knuckle-dragging infrastructure architecture engineer, not a developer. not. I want to make sure everything talks, everything's relational, everything stays up 24 hours a day and it never goes down. So when we got to talking about doing it, I said, fine, let's get the decisions, folks, on the team. So my vacation, waiting for my grandson, turned down to 10-hour days for 2 weeks, where I'm bringing them, okay, show me again what you're going to do. Have my whole team on the call, right? Explained our situation to them. Before that 2 weeks was up, they came back. We can do it for this much, this fast. Cool. All I got to do is get back and sign the contracts. Okay? Went back to the CEO, got this covered. We're going to pivot. We're going to get it done. Okay? Get back to McLean in our home office. About a week after I got back, and I'm on my high off my pivot, I get a call from Gordon. And Gordon says, Harley, we're going to need more time. I'm like, that's not what your email said. You said you were going to do it for this much, this fast. Where's my contract? And he said, you know what? We want to do it right. It's a plate of spaghetti. We're going to do it right. In my 35 years of doing this, and I've worked with every vendor in Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., worked with them all over the world. I've never had a vendor get ready to walk away from a book deal because they want to do the right thing. I was like, I got all giddy for decisions to that point. I've seen it all. But the fact that they were willing to do it right and give me what I wanted so I don't have to have the conversation after 18 months, nothing just happened, right? So I said, okay, Gordon, let's talk turkey. How long is it going to take? He came up with a date. I hit him halfway. We met halfway, and we went forward. That's been 8 months ago. The unique thing about this is, remember the $40 billion juggernaut could not even comprehend what we basically do? This guy right here was walking cases in 6 months. I could have brought him into my call center, and you called in about an automotive dispute, he'd have been able to work the case. Uber impressed, right?
Yeah, so if I could just speak to that
go ahead.
For a minute. It's one of the things that we pride our services, our service delivery on is our ABC model, where we say architect, build, communicate. And so if you're familiar with software development, there's both agile and waterfall, right? Traditional software development. We're more waterfall around the edges and then operate in an agile cadence throughout the development. So what I mean by that is at the very beginning of an engagement, we bring in our architects. Like I see Dylan in the back. He's actually our architect that worked on this project. We come in, we get a firm understanding of what is it we're going to be building, and then break it down to the details of how are we going to build it in Decisions. Because Decisions is a very capable platform, like any software development, you can build things 10 different ways. It's important to us that we identify the correct way to build it up front so that we optimize for long-term scalability.
Yep. One thing I'll throw on there, and so color me impressed, we're going to launch the new platform in October. October, right? Got him recorded on there? We're going to launch it in October. MVP. Dylan, we got October, right? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. So it has been a great ride where I said the partnership between my SMEs working with them on a daily basis. So we are having the weekly meetings, but we're getting somewhere, right? Open dialogue, true partnership, quid pro quo, whatever you want to say, back and forth, right? Why can't we do it this way? Well, maybe if we try it this way, move on. I think one of the things that the $40 billion juggernaut did not have is they had an army of developers to work this project. They were on that call every week. They had no project management. They wasn't nobody managing the pocket protectors. You know that's dangerous, right? Somebody has to be able to translate, right, between everybody wanting to think it's this way. And I think that was their weakness. And we kept telling them that during the project, for 18 months. But one of the things that has changed for me is not only am I having Decisions train my team to use this platform, I brought it into my environment to replace this dispute resolution system. I'm refactoring every stack I have after this project, 2 decisions. Because me as a CIO and the type of organization and services I provide, I need one conduit in the middle of my universe, right? That is the common tie between that relationship. Remember I said I'm an engineer, I love everything just to talk, right? When we bring up the new programs that our organization monetizes, it makes complete sense to me that I can create it front to back with its own business logic and just be able to do it faster and more efficiently. Still use my expertise. I've got developers, senior developers that's been in the industry 38 years, right? Brilliant developers. That was a challenge for me. When I said, I'm gonna do this, well, wait, you don't want me to write the code no more? You don't love me anymore, Harley? No, I love you. I'm trying to make things easier on you, right? And I think that's what low code, no code is bringing to the dance, where you are going to be able, for me and my organization, we want to get products out that are quality, but we also want to go speed to market, right? Because we're not, a huge organization. We have kind of niche iterations that we do, right? And I think low code, no code, especially decisions, is perfect for an organization such as BBB National Programs. Is there any questions? We keep talking. Open it up.
Yeah, we can open it up if anyone has any questions.
They're making it easy.
Yeah. I guess I'll ask you,
Yeah.
In choosing decisions over some of the other platforms, what were aspects of the platform that stuck out to your team?
Yeah, I kind of changed the iteration. So yes, I did not fall in love with them overnight. As a vendor, I fall in love with no vendor because they're going to whisper sweet nothings in my ear. I competed them against their competitors. Even though we had verbally come to a agreement in email, I started going out to their competitors, and I let them know, I'm on the table. I'm competing you, all right? So I went out with their competitors, and I'm not going to mention names. Keep that clean.
Fair enough.
But, pulled them in. Yeah, they sold it. A lot of them said, no, we can do it faster than them. We can do it cheaper than them, right? Things that flagged me, their support model, okay? Support model was in Bangladesh, right? Resource-wise, and there's nothing wrong with being outsourced, but in my experience, a blend works better, right? I need somebody that can translate hillbilly, right? You get in Bangladesh with my accent, yeah, I mean, it's comical. The other thing that their competitors were not clear to me, and I kind of sniffed out, is their license model, right? Anybody that's been doing this, Gordon reminded me how old I was and how long I've been doing this when he was on stage. He's a submariner. We used to refer to him as bubbleheads when I was in the Navy. He used to refer to I asked him last night, I said, we used to call you bubbleheads. He said, well, what'd you call us? And I said, targets, But anyway, the competitors were not forthright in their licensing. I was hearing the spin. So if I purchase this at this amount, I can expand it as far as I needed to expand for the same price point. Crickets, right? Ask them the same questions. Pay me my flat fee. We want to keep you forever, right? That helps me on a budget, right? This is how much the infrastructure is going to cost. I think the model that sold us, for my part, was the simplicity of how they bring the platform in, the onboarding process, and care and feeding, right? And that's important to me, right? We've never used this before. You've just sold me something, right? But them going out of the way to do so, and most of all, I had to pull my team in, and I said, okay, I just competed them. I want your opinion. You're going to have to ride or die with this. I said, use this, decisions, use this, decisions. What do you guys want to do? We want to use decisions. And I said, why? Michelle goes, We think their interface is easier to use, makes more sense to us. Because you remember, I'm asking .NET developers that are true coders to change the way you've been doing it for the last 30 years. That's a challenge. And make them feel like no. And the good story is because of the work Dylan and these guys have been working with my team, my .NET developers do not feel threatened by this product. They're embracing it. They're like, oh my God, I don't have to sit here. I can just drop and drag it and then customize it after the fact. Perfect, because it's speed to market for us. So.
You sure there's no questions out here?
No, I think they want to put you on the spot.
So I was going to ask, what's the feeling of your legacy developers, the introduction of this platform?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to choose decisions. Why?
Yeah.
And stuff, but how do I ask this?
Any way you want to.
You know, it sounds like this is the first project that's being built on decisions. So how far along in the game are your .NET people?
Great question. Okay.
I'm sure you have a whole range of.
That's great. It's a great question. It's kind of funny because, yeah, it does. So in clarity, for this project, I hired their guns because we got to get it done, right? They're working with my team and my SMEs, but the delivery is really more on them for this project while I'm getting my people up to speed. Now, but I'm kind of like the worthless boss in the back seat that every team meeting, I'm like, so how you doing with your decisions training? So-and-so, how are you doing? How far along are you? Get your hands dirty. I'm pushing them, right, to say, hey, I'm asking you to do a lot in a short amount of time. But remember, I said I'm going to refactor everything we have, future state, in this platform. So you're all going to have to become experts in it. And what I've done for my team, I'm not limited it, it's not limited to developers. Every tier of my support model, even my vendors that handle my infrastructure, I'm making get certified in this platform. Because it was offered to me in the deal to make sure. I love the fact that they're selling a product and they're not saying like this, attend our classes, get our training, we're always here to help you. For me, I love that because I believe that internal technologists should never become reliant on external vendors. External vendors are there for mother may I can't figure it out. That's why I have a support contract, right, with whoever I hire. I think it's good. My youngest team member is the one that has completed the training first. And I didn't have to prompt him. Some of my more senior developers, yeah, it's taken a little bit longer, but they're also doing the day-to-day while we're trying to eliminate the 18 months.
Yeah, there's definitely a learning curve to the platform, right? Because it is very capable, which means that, again, there's 10 different ways to build things, and determining what steps to use and how to line up the logic is still a very detailed process. One of the things that I've really appreciated about this partnership is the teamwork and collaboration across teams. We bring the expertise in professional services, and we work very closely with Harley's team to build the project all together.
And Dylan's in here, and I hate to give him his props, but I mean, if you ever work with Dylan on any project, some of the best project management, architecture, and understanding that I've ever seen. Don't record that, redact that off the film. No, I'm just teasing. October, Dylan.
Cool. Well, if there's no further questions, I think we could probably wrap it up there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get closer. I'm hard of hearing.
It's not a very easy one on me to ask, but what was something, if there was any, indecisions that you felt it lacked? You mentioned the very strong is easier interface. As an architect, sometimes I will deal with clients who will ask questions and
Right.
will pinpoint stuff that they don't like about decisions, and I need to learn how to handle this.
Right. This is what I've observed, and he can tell you, I don't micromanage my team. I sit on the calls and I guide them when everybody starts going off the rails, right? I'm just bringing the guidance in. But to answer your question, thus far, and I've been heavily involved. Remember, I handed him a plate of spaghetti. They have not been stumped. Now, the way I've sold it to the organization and what I have seen in my experience thus far is everything has a limitation. Nothing is bulletproof, right? But they can bring it in very easily. So if they can't do it low code, no code, you can bring in that piece part to make it look like it's part of the solution seamlessly. What Gordon was talking about, the APIs not working, prime example. I don't use Salesforce, I use Dynamics. That's my single record of authority for the organization. He's absolutely right. Their APIs don't work. They don't work, and he just gave me the idea now, once I refactor everything, to do for our marketing team exactly. I think it's a great way to develop an external customer-facing B2B, but you can also automate your entire internal organization. SharePoint's been selling a bill of goods. SharePoint does it all. No, it doesn't. It never has, right? But a lot of failures that I've got internally using SharePoint, we're rewriting with decisions right now. Again, everything has its limitations, but I have not seen them get stumped, and we are throwing some of the most complex things at them to where the system could not handle it. Now, what we've had to adjust to is our ask for MVP, minimal viable product. As a stakeholder, we want it all. We want it now. But we understand, and I think that's what's cool about no code decisions or whatever, is you can get that MVP and launch and just keep adding to it, refining it. You can't do that with traditional code. It's just like they're doing the demo right now. If something's not working and you put that bug out there, it's not easily to pull it back. And you're getting lit up by your external and internal customers right now saying, this don't work, this don't work. I think from an operations standpoint, it makes change control and change management much easier than traditional ways that we've been doing it. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, well, let's give it up for Harley. Thanks.
Thank you all.